pre-planning sessions that this is what you were meant to do. This was your purpose. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
It goes back to that time I sat there at my lowest point, wondering if I was built to lose or if I was built to win. And I heard the Chadwick Boseman quote to say that these experiences were to prepare me for my purpose. And so at that point, I was led to believe that, or conclude that my purpose was the thing that I cared most deeply about. And what I cared most deeply about was to be able to go out and ensure that everyone had a safe space and that everybody had these resources to support their overall well-being. And I cared about people thriving. And once I thought about all these things that I cared, I said, well, now I have to envision how do we leverage technology? Because that's the reason why I had that experience. If we're basing this off of what Chadwick said, right. I had a very rich, diverse set of experiences through technology, from coding to cloud, and had been in those data centers since I was as young as 4 years old. And so I said, well, that has to be a part of the solution and my purpose. And so from there, it became to be able to deliver these services through a community called One2Gration. And so that is my purpose. And I do not believe that I could have come up with something so intricately designed with so many avenues for humanity to thrive and benefit by myself.
Interesting.
God
you know what?
Me and moving through me.
I don't happen to believe that Chadwick Boseman was one of your people that was really influential. I think that there was probably others that you may not have come across. And it just so happens that in my library, I have this book by John Meacham that describes and talks about the power of hope and John Lewis's story, which I think, Jeff, aligns to what you had mentioned. And in the books afterward, John Lewis writes, within all of us, there is the spark of the divine that helps us and moves us. This force is part of our DNA. Maybe it's planted by God Almighty, and we have to use it for good to be the best we can be. So beyond Chadwick, Jeff, I mean, looks like there's the wisdom from John Lewis that's being passed on through John Meacham.
I have to say this. John Lewis, as a brother, as a fist guy, we call each other brothers on the altar. And so
okay.
That's a brother on the altar. And to have and to know now that those were his words, and that's what I am intentionally attempting to do. That's great validation for me in this pursuit. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. And I think the paragraph before then, I think there's also something that, Jeff, you and I can both agree on in terms of our stated purpose. Again, mine is to focus on ways that people from all walks of life, age, background can internalize the messaging of our guests, to have this internal awareness about themselves, to be a better person overall. And that I wouldn't say mental awareness, but mental growth, because growth means that we are all striving to become better day by day. But one of the lasting, and I'll give you the final word to what I'll share from, again, John Lewis, where he writes, I think there's something brewing in America that's going to bring people closer and closer together. Adversity can breed unity. Hatred can give way to love. We need a leadership of love now, a strong leadership to lift us, to transport us, to remind us that God's truth is marching on. We can do it. We must do it.
Wow.
What do you make of those words from the brother from the altar?
First of all, I would raise my hand, and I am raising my hand. A leadership of love, I think I've demonstrated it. I have attempted to build and address the challenges that, from my perspective, are an opportunity for humanity to move forward.
Right.
And I've done it through expression and Afrofuturism in the arts to transmute the pain that I felt from the physical discomfort, but also the hurt that I felt because so many people have suffered in silence right alongside of me. Whether that means that they were getting bullied like I was, or they were afraid to speak up.
Okay.
That's still traumatic. That's people are not conditioned. In my mind, my heart doesn't say people are conditioned to be so insensitive that they would allow for these types of things to happen in their presence.
Right.
I think it's out of fear that they allow these things to happen. And so, for me, I decided that in the story, love always wins. And so, why don't I be a demonstration of that? And I also want to highlight that love doesn't always feel good. And so it's about a commitment to do what's right in the light.
Wait. Love. Go back. Love is uncomfortable.
Love doesn't always feel. Love doesn't always feel good. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. That's
How do you mean?
There's no such thing as growth without discomfort.
Sure.
And so whether it is you have to sit your child in time out because they will not stop opening the oven while it's on. Well, I know sitting my daughter in time out was no fun for me either.
Right.
Because I didn't want to do it. And I was going to have to keep telling her to get back over there because I needed to make sure she did what I told her to do because I'm trying to parent her. Right. So that's just an example of love takes commitment, even in the hard and challenging and tough times. And so, love doesn't always feel good.
You bring certainly a very unique perspective to that, Jeff. Thanks for sharing.
Every day, we interact with hundreds of people, like these individuals. In a modern world, we are always faced with the challenges of connecting authentically in a digital world. Meet Darius. As a student organizer at his local college, Darius yearns to find things in the community to share with his friends and classmates that align with social equity, warding off spaces and places that do not align with him and his peers' interests. Meet Lindsay. She wants to be able to address her issues without airing them to everyone online. She wants to find a real-time way to confidentially connect with her circle of family and friends when she needs it most. Be in the know, lead the way, and create your new space. Sign up now at www.One2Gration.com. Be the change agent on how community is done.